But it's probably a good idea, and then you can share it with your colleagues if people wanted to have a look at it.
I can't actually log into the Mondays thing. It says my user is inactive. I don't know if I've been taken off.
Yeah.
You will have. Is it the same for you, Hayley?
Yeah, I can't get in anymore either. I used to be able to.
That's okay. I can fix that for you. If you bear with me one moment, I will.
I'm
fix
so
your
sorry,
access.
Callum. I didn't mean to just cut you midway. I just thought that it would be really beneficial if we record the especially things that you're mentioning.
Yeah, sure. I'll just share the document as well. So talk through it. I think you can see that 2024 release major themes. So sort of skipping down. So reporting is as I said, PDF reports of anaesthesia-related notes that are exported either to EPR or sent to people by other means. Needs brought up to date with changes that have happened in the anaesthetic notes that feed into them that might have been missed out. And examples there, the specialist review has several fields missing from it. Also, whether these reports could be generated automatically after an anaesthetic event, whether like 24 hours after an epidural has been inserted or an anaesthesia for spinal, it could then generate a report with the spinal details, the epidural assessment details, and export that as well. And then the other major thing is the unit reports of the anaesthetic theme. That's where you get numbers and complications. They definitely need brought up to speed and reviewed, and perhaps new ones added to it, just to make it easier to get the data, or for audit purposes potentially, or base new reports on the Royal College of Anaesthetists audit QI or QI compendium, just to make use of all the information that is in Badgernet and cover the common themes or requests for reports. And then really the other major group is small things that have been requested for individual notes, like in the anaesthesia notes, be able to record things about the general anaesthesia a bit more accurately. Adding certain fields. Actually, within that, there's another theme of request for some local configurability of contents of pick lists, so that particularly in the consent, there's been some requests or suggestions for being able to change the things that are, or the incidences that are presented to patients for consent purposes, and what's recorded there. And then just looking down, there's the, as I said, small field changes or small functionality changes within these individual forms. Although admittedly, the pre-op checklist one, requesting local configurability like the WHO checklist, surgical safety checklist, would be quite a major change that would be involve rebuilding that. Although it had been mooted in the past that this checklist would change, I don't think there's been any move forward in that. And then down here, just some other examples of additional fields or tweaks to help record common working practices in these different notes, and also mentions of the clinical narrative, being able to include all the relevant things that are anaesthetic related to show up there. So yeah, themes. I don't know how much time these themes translate into. I think reporting might be slightly separate, or the
patient list maybe, just depends.
Yeah, so maybe something that could be done separately to the work allocation for.
How's that working, Tanya? Because obviously reporting is a different resource for.
It is a different
perinatal. So is there a different view on that allocation when we're looking at how much time we have for the perinatal engineering? the unit reports and patient lists, is that a separate resource? So we just speak to Daniel about that and we can see what we can get
yeah,
from Daniel.
I would say so. So that is, I unfortunately am not aware. So if ye like, I mean,
Yeah, no, that's okay. It's just so we know that when we are allocating, so we can preference unit reports and women's lists, and we can have our conversation as a separate engineer to the engineering that contains all the rest. And it's that engineering team that's got a tighter resource perhaps on it, where we have to stick within our resource limits of what we want. And that's with the priority. So I know, for instance, that huge checklist, I'm going to say that that's probably the maximum. That's a huge change. That's probably going to take up, you know, if we wanted that in the next release, that most likely probably the only change we would get, and maybe one other. So it's around thinking, do you go for some of the smaller things and we get much more off the list, or do we take one huge one and really make a difference just to one part of the anaesthetic process?
I would probably, like, if I could just suggest something, I would probably do like the voting, because I guess
Oh no, we are going to do the voting, but it's just so people fully understand you know, what some of these mean.
Absolutely. I just say that, like, before we speak with engineers about the kind of the how big these changes are. Sorry, it's like the end of the day, so I'm a bit so until we speak with the engineers, we wouldn't know exactly like how much this takes, but we can probably assess with your help, Maggie, though, how big the change is, though.
Yeah, that one's a fairly substantial change. I would know that just based on other changes that we've had similar. But that doesn't mean that that's not that we shouldn't do it. It's just, you know, is that going to be everybody's top priority?
Yeah, and it's pre-op checklist rather than WHO checklist that needs to be changed. And you know, the thing about that is, yeah, it's a reasonable request, but it doesn't just affect anaesthetics. So it would probably, I would say, it would be unwise to use anaesthetic time for a checklist that does affect other, you know, well, the whole obstetric team, essentially, even though it's a theatre checklist. But you know, obviously we can vote on that. But that would be essentially creating absolutely from scratch and yeah, make it configurable. So,
Helen, based on the themes that you've raised, everything just now is just in the Mondays board in a huge big table. Would it be beneficial that so I could either split them out into different groups based on these changes, or I could add a tag, which means we could filter the bigger table, so you could just look at we could tag them so we'd know the areas. Do you think
I think it would be easier to rewrite these, because some of them are just like single requests in a Monday's entry. So rather than look at these, you could like group them together, like a bunch of small changes affecting these notes, like a bunch of work and small changes affecting these notes, and then the reporting obviously can come separately. So maybe, I don't know, maybe a new table for themes to vote on rather than and build up a themes table on the Mondays board.
What's
I mean,
your thoughts,
as a user, I mean, I'd rather actually fix a lot of the little problems or the little niggles or this isn't quite in the right place, because that actually has a lot more impact for usability and acceptance than maybe doing a big piece of work on one little bit. I don't know whether Hayley would disagree.
No, I don't disagree. I agree with you completely. And this is something that we're pushing quite hard in New Zealand back to System C, is to say, stop building new stuff. And can you just fix the annoying things, or the things that are, you know, that somebody else might look at them and say, well, you know, it's always nice to have something bright and shiny, but actually we've got a whole lot of stuff that that just needs tweaking to make it virtually perfect. So you know, we'd much rather see that that sort of you know, thought process, and we did discuss that when System C were out here recently. That's you know, that's a bigger priority for us than, you know, the check, you know, the WHO checklists and things. You know, that's great, but like you say, and I've seen the same thing. It takes an entire release, and then you wait another year to tidy up those small annoying things. So yeah, I certainly I'm with you, Matt, all the way. Clean up the little bits.
Perfect. So I've looked, you've both got access to the Mondays board. Well, I think I've resent, Hayley, you've confirmed. Matt, have you managed to get in okay?
I'm in, yeah.
Perfect. So when I look down here, there's two changes that seem to be for New Zealand, which is around airway assessments and antenatal summary add block scans, but they've got complete. Callum, did you mark them as complete that they're already done, or is it complete that there's a change request? I'm not quite
completely, they're already done.
Okay, so we'll just move them out of there then. So there isn't anything outstanding.
Yeah, there's two. There's a couple, Maggie. So one of them is a specialist review. How can I tell you where that is? Change ID. Is that helpful?
Yeah, go for it.
Is it in new anaesthetic issues and questions? I'm just looking at the page, just trying to see where they are.
Is it? Oh, is it your already outstanding changes? You've got them right. Sorry, I was looking at the
you
new
were back
ones.
on the other
Yeah.
one.
Okay. Yeah. So I see them. So you've got Let me just refilter that. But let me share my. Well, Callum's got hers. Yeah. So I can see that you've got change request 111188, which is the anaesthetic review airway assessments. For report configuration.
Yeah, I think is there a problem with how it displays on the
Yeah, I don't think the fields are included. Well, I mean, airway assessment is now a separate note from the specialist review, so we need to pull in that note as well, or I guess the most recent airway assessment that's been recorded.
Yeah, okay. And I can see there's a couple for Palmerston North under urinary catheters. So what I would first of all suggest is make sure that everything that you think is a nuance and that you want to get fixed is on this board, because this is the board that we're going to be reviewing and discussing. So you can add to the new anaesthetic issues and questions if there's items that you don't see on the Mondays board, and Callum and I can review and pick those up and have a look at what those are, because what I don't want is that we're prioritising work and you don't have your key issues on this board. So let us know what's missing.
It may be that someone else has already created this, but just create it again. Rather than you having to look through every single detail of what's on there, you can all just stick in, and I'll pick up any duplicates.
So I can see one of mine actually from November 22, which is the one I was thinking about. So the output from on the new anaesthetic issues questions, items missing from PDF report from anaesthesia specialist clinic review. So this may have been fixed because I haven't actually looked recently to check it's working, but at the moment the output from the PDF output doesn't actually give all the fields. But can you see that one, you two?
Yeah.
Is that the outstanding changes board?
The new anaesthetic issues questions.
Yeah.
So it's called items missing from PDF reports.
Yeah, yes, I've picked that up in the summary or the themes. Yep.
Yeah, so it may be. So just
to
make sure it goes onto that list.
Yeah.
Yeah, so on the Mondays board, so what we'll do, we might add some themes to them, so you'll see the themes coming on, but fundamentally we can ask you to vote. So on that sort of fourth column along, there's a voting button, and then if you vote on the ones that you wish, so obviously the ones that you've raised, definitely, I mean, Matt, I know that you raised those report and questions the last release and they didn't make it into the release. I would be keen to see these in this release. I think that's quite a key thing. If you're going to have reports, it needs to have all the information in it. So I think that one should be up there. But let's see what comes back from others within that. So if you could vote, then that would be great. We're not meeting again until let me get my calendar. 2 weeks time. Oh, so I didn't put, I don't know, we could just vote and then you could email us to let us know that you've voted, and then what we could do is have another meeting. I think, yeah, we've got that in for the 19th of February. So the plan would be is that you vote, Callum and I will review all those votes. You can comment and send us anything, escalate, email or on the board. And then by then we'll have a rough idea and we'll communicate out by email. So these are looking like the top ones that's going to be reviewed. And the ones that have the most votes, we're going to ask Tanya to take to the engineering team to have to be reviewed in our estimated time. So I think, I can't remember if it's 20 efforts or 30 efforts for an for a user group. We can confirm that next time. But what will happen is the priority changes, we will ask engineering to review those. They will give it an effort allocation, and then we can build the changes into the release that we want in the release to the maximum of the efforts that we will have based on that for anaesthetics. It's either 20 efforts or 30. So again, if that was 30 things that only took an engineer an hour or one effort, you could get 30 changes in. You know, if something's going to take 10 efforts, you might get one at 10 efforts and then a few at smaller efforts. So we'll come back on the 19th of February and we will finalise that list so that we're all happy, we all know, and if anybody's got any issues, then we can take those concerns and we can discuss them based on that. But if there's anything not on that board that you want to be reviewed and discussed, please add it. Callum and I will continue to work through this. We're meeting with the UK anaesthetists tomorrow, where we'll be showing them the same board, discussing the themes and things that we're going to go into there, and the same conversation that we've had with yourself. And again, meet up in sort of 3-4 weeks' time to review what those efforts are, and then discuss and say this is what we're thinking is going to come in the release. And on that, the 19th of February, we'll have, you know, a clearer indication of what we want to do then. And then once we've all agreed, we will pass that across to Tanya and her team, and Tanya will manage that with the engineers. And then I think engineering starts close to the end of February, early March, I think, for the release coming in May. So we need, you know, so although it sounds as though it's very early, you know, the planning and the building and the reviewing of all these changes starts very early. So that's why we thought if we meet and start off the year, hopefully we'll get the changes that we want and we can make quite an impact to all those small little niggly things that are perhaps there. Does that sound okay? Tanya, are you speaking to us or you're on mute?
Yeah, I am actually. Yeah, sorry, my internet here is just so dodgy. Like I really apologize for that. So just so I missed when you would be meeting for the votes. When would it be?
Oh,
sorry.
we're asking everybody to vote now, Tanya. So they're going to go through and vote. Callum and I will review the board and have a touch point where we are going to come round about the end of the month, so first week in February, where we'll hopefully have our priorities and we'll be able to say these are our list that we want you to take to engineering to have a review of the time. Now, I think you said,
is it possible at all to do it before February?
well, we're meeting with the Anaesthetic UK group tomorrow, so we could say that everybody's got to have their votes in by, you know, the end of next week, and then that would give us an indication of what the sort of top priorities are. Callum and I can pull a list together where you can then take to engineering to get those efforts, so then we can decide, well, we've got too much, we've got enough, actually we need to take this out, and what that looks like, and then we'll have you a committed list by the 19th of February, but I think you said you maybe wanted it by the 22nd, but it doesn't matter if we can have it there early for you.
So yeah, I think for I'm actually I actually had to have like quite urgent leave, so the week that week of the 19th I'm actually away, but that doesn't matter because I'm aiming to do some of the engineering reviews before that. So it would be really, really great if we could get the priority lists by the end of Jan, because then Sue and Carol need to look at that as well, and then we take it to the engineers.
I don't see that not being achievable. Do you, Callum? Do you see that being okay? We'll
Yeah, well,
communicate.
yeah, got to commit to something. So
Yeah, we just need the anaesthetic user group to vote on them. So Hayley, Matt, please vote, have a look at them, spend a little bit of time. I don't know, your colleagues who haven't turned up today. If you want, we can share the meeting invite and say to them, can they please log in, have a view, have a vote. We'll be saying the same to the UK tomorrow, and then we can prioritise. So at least we know the top. There's no point having engineers review everything when we know that these things are not a top priority for the group.
Absolutely. So yeah, if you say if voting is possible next week, then that would be awesome. Then the week after, I'll just start looking at those and preparing them for the engineers.
So if everybody could have voted and you could have maybe turned us around by the 31st and voted and had a look at what you would like to vote for, then that would be great. Is that a reasonable? I know everybody's super busy. Is that a reasonable timescale to have a look? And you're just going to vote
I think
for your
it
own
doesn't
ones
matter
anyway,
whether you
probably.
say do it in a week or do it in a month. Everybody does it the day before.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
due.
exactly. So if we say you have to have all your voting in by close of play of the 31st, then Callum and I can review sort of the Thursday, Friday, and have it by the end of you next week, Tanya. But you can, it doesn't have to be a meeting. We just have to say to you, the board's ready. Here's the items we want you to review. With the
So
tickets,
you're going to give them. So you're going to give them to them. Oh, sorry. You're going to give them to me end of next week, or are you saying end of
next
the week?
week?
Okay. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. Anybody else got anything else they want to add? Does that all sound? Let's give it a bash. See how we get on.
Yep, sounds good.
Good.
Perfect. And then so we'll maybe communicate by some email, and then our next meeting is the Monday the 19th at 7:00 PM UK time, and what time is that for you guys?
Is it same as this?
Yeah, same as this.
8 AM.
Is that okay? 8 AM for you? Is that
yeah,
right?
it's good.
Perfect. Great.
Brilliant.
Callum, have you got anything else you want to add?
No, that's fine. Yep, we'll be able to get that sorted out. One thing just to point out, Tanya, if you're having a look as well, some of the descriptions might be a bit vague and not clear unless you actually use it as an anaesthetist. So
this is why because I'm not clinical, I would need specific allocated time to translate it, and to discuss it with our clinical specialists.
Yeah, so that's where if I summarize things as themes, then that might be an easier thing for you to take forward rather than the individual.
That's absolutely fine. I think I might catch up with Maggie with yourself and probably work on those priorities just to write them up.
Yeah. Cool.
I must say that document you shared, Callum, that has them kind of in themes, like that would be really useful if you could share that.
Yeah, we can send.
Just because I'm not going to get enough traction from my people probably to look at this in any great depth. There's a couple on here that I know we put on a couple of years ago, and I'll go and check those and see whether they've actually been done or not, but that we would still be looking for. But some of the things, like for example, we don't really use the unit reports, so they wouldn't be a priority for us. But some of the other things, like if I could go to them with specific themes, and I'm just trying to be more time efficient, really, because I don't want to have to go through all of these and then come up with a list for them to go and look at. But I think the themes would be quite useful for us.
Sure.
And Matt, anything that you're going to add, can you just drop them to me so that I just know and I can make sure that I'm poking at the right things.
Okay. No, I'm going through voting at the moment, actually, but.
Great.
So if you log on in 20 minutes, you'll see what the things are for us, because nobody else has voted yet. So now's a good opportunity to see what I think.
You'll have today to do it, because we won't be meeting. We're not meeting till tomorrow afternoon UK time. So you've got all day.
Excellent. I've got till 11 o'clock when I finish work for today. It's my short Friday. I love it.
Maggie, how does the voting work?
I think you just click on it and then it should add up the votes,
Yeah.
I think.
And you can see who's voted actually on the.
And you can see,
on
to be honest, I've never used the vote-in, but you can see, so I can see that Matt's
Oh,
voted
sorry, I see
for,
the vote field now. Yeah.
like, the items missed, so I can see that Matt's voted for that. A few other ones further down,
Yeah.
that
So
there's been
you want,
voted.
I'm presuming you just want me to do the outstanding changes list. It's not the or do you want me to do the longer list of new issues and questions?
I would do the new
'Cause-
issues and questions as well. So there's 2 boards, go for it, because
Right.
we'll just,
Okay.
these are ones that have come in that we've just not progressed to a change request
Right.
based on, we now manage everything on the Mondays board. So there's no point raising a change request if it's never going to get to the point of being a change request. So the new anaesthetic issues and questions and the outstanding changes, if you vote on those 2 boards, that would be fantastic.
Right. I will do that this morning.
And
Great.
Won't
Maggie,
take
just another
long.
thing there's a couple of entries in the boards that don't have any content in them. It's just a title. There's more than a couple. There's a few. Do you know if they're anything, or can we just delete them?
You got an example? Which one are they?
I would suggest we have some explanation of them, because again,
Oh, there needs to be explanation, but I was just meaning as in which ones were they, because it may be that there's no explanation on them, but there may be a change request or service desk ID that somebody wants you to look
yeah,
at.
so on the new anaesthetic issues questions, we put down anaesthetic consent questions. It's basically anything without a number beside it, actually.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't mean anything. I would just delete that one. There's no site, there's no site added to that. In fact, it was added by me. Maybe I was doing it as an example last May or something. I don't know. There's nothing to that, so I would just remove that one.
Okay, I'll delete a few then. Great.
Yeah, because there's one there, anaesthetic given multi-pick list. I mean, is that meaning that they want anaesthetic given to be changed to a multi-pick list? But I think that was done. Did we not change that so you could, or is it to do with the consent?
For the consent, yeah, for the consent it is, but not for the anaesthetic given. But that's fine. It's not going to change because you just have to create a new note for each anaesthetic you give.
Yeah.
It is a procedure-based note.
Yeah. So we could just choose that one and disregarded as an example, disregarded.
Oh, yeah. I was just deleting them. I've deleted 3 already. Is that okay?
Go for it. You're the anaesthetic lead. You're the one that gets the final say, Callum. So.
Okay. Yeah, there's another one. Mandatory field in anaesthetic smart form. First anaesthetist, please switch off. Oh, mandatory field.
But I guess that explains what it is that it wants to do, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's fair enough. Well, that's based on the mandatory fields and the anaesthesia note itself, which is within settings, so that can be turned off locally. Yep. Okay.
Okay, well, I'll leave it to you. I'll let you get head off to go and vote. As I say, we'll meet with the UK anaesthetists tomorrow to do the exact same thing. Callum and I will review. We'll maybe keep an eye on the Mondays board because you can see how there's updates. Callum, are you okay to email? Is it easier if you have you got everyone's email address, or do you need to send it to me and I'll send it out?
Oh well, I'll send it to you. Yeah.
Okay, if you do that just now before I log off and finish, then I'll send it to. I'll send it out. You're not quite finished it.
No, I'd like to send it so you've got it for Monday morning, Daily and Matt.
Yeah, that's fine.
Could I send
No
it? Is there
problem.
a distribution list on this meeting? Or the invites, I guess, we'd have had.
Yeah, on the invite, you just send it. Yeah, if you've got access, you can see everybody. Just send it to everybody who's on this invite.
Yeah.
And what you could also do, Callum, is just add it to the Mondays board, because I'm presuming the UK anaesthetists are going to want that as well. So we can add it as an attachment onto the Mondays board so everyone can pick it up from there as well.
Yeah. Okay. I shall do that. And yeah, I can see all the invites. There's not many on the. Would that be right? There's not many in the New Zealand.
Yeah, no, that's right. It's a small group
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
compared to the hundreds that's on the UK. That when you send it out, you get, goodness knows how many non-returnable items. But anyway, that's mine.
Okay.
Right, okay, enjoy your voting. We
Great.
will be in touch. We'll send an email if there's any updates, or we can pop them on the Mondays board, and then we'll see you on the 19th of February, so in a month's time.
Great. Thanks heaps.
Perfect.
Thanks, Ed.
Okay. See you later. Have a good
See
day.
ya.
Bye.
Bye.